ചെയ്തു. അച്ഛൻ അങ്ങോട്ടെ. അയ്യോ അതെനിക്ക് അറിഞ്ഞൂടെ, ഞാൻ ചെയ്ത് ഓർത്തോ.
Assistant take from there.
Oh, Papa, it is live.
I spread the book very clearly and take from the beginning. Like this. They be short too.
ഓഫാക്കി നേരം എടുക്കണ്ടേ.
Your head up. I welcome everybody for the live session. The trip of Le Horla. Actually, it is a French story. And remember that France culture, environment, and we are going to know about Guy de Maupassant. Guy de Maupassant's story, the trip of Leola. Actually, the author is giving an experience of himself traveling in a hot air balloon. So let us know something about Guy de Maupassant. Guy de Maupassant was a popular 19th century French writer. And remember, considered one of the masters of modern short story, and one of its finest exponents, propagator, Guy de Maupassant. Guy de Maupassant is actually a French name. That is why Guy de Maupassant was born in 1850 and died in 1893. So he is a 19th century French writer, considered one of the masters of modern short story and one of the finest propagator or exponents of short story. Then the short story called The Trip of Leola. So this is in the unit Beyond the Horizons about traveling. So the story The Trip of Leola is mainly talking about the writer's experience, Guy de Maupassant's experience of traveling in a hot air balloon. So this story first appeared in Figaro in 1887 under the title From Paris to Haste. So that is given in your textbook. And the Trip of Leola is about the author's ride in a hot air balloon. That is what here we come to know about Guy de Maupassant. So the Trip of Leola is really an aerial experience, aerial travel experience of Gide Maupassant. That is what. So this is giving a very good experience of aerial travel in the air, especially in a hot air balloon. So let us see what the story is talking about. On the morning of July 8th, I received the following telegram message. So actually the story begins with the telegram message received from the captain. On the morning of July 8th, I received the following telegram. Let us see what is the telegram message. It's a short message. And the sentences will be not in grammatical precision, correctness. So certain important situational appropriate words are used by in order to communicate the message. Fine day, the message goes like this, telegram message. Fine day, always my predictions, my calculations, my observations. Belgium frontier. Bakish and servants leave at noon at the social session. Means their gathering and discussion and technical work and inflating the balloon. Beginning of maneuvers at 3 means a series of moves requiring skill and care. Maneuvering at 3 o'clock. So I will wait for you for the writer, Gide Maupassant, at the works at the arrangement site from 5 o'clock onwards. Joyce, Captain Joyce. This is actually the first paragraph of the story, the trip of Loyola. And it is about the message, telegram message that the writer Gide Maupassant receives from Captain Joyce. He received the telegram message, and at 5 o'clock sharp, that is another important quality of the writer. Sharp 5 o'clock, I entered the gas works of La Ville. La Ville is the place where the workshop of this, actually the work of Balloon Loyola's trip, which is going to be taken place, is conducted. The balloon, now the Balloon Loyola's description. The balloon is lying in the courtyard and has the appearance of a cake made of a yellow clothes. That is a very important thing. The balloon is lying in the courtyard, the front place of that La Ville, and has the appearance. What is the balloon is looking like? A cake made of yellow clothes, flat on the ground under a rock. So flat on the ground under a rock, it is lying on the courtyard. The description of the balloon: 200 or 300 people are looking at this, sitting or standing, the position of the people. And some people are examining the basket, looking very clearly at the basket. A nice little square basket for a human cargo. Actually, human beings who are going to travel in Loyola are considered as cargo. That is why human cargo, the weight, the load. Bearing on its side, you see by the side of the basket in the golden letters written on a mahogany plate, actually timber. red-brown timber, reddish-brown timber, that is mahogany trees wood. The words Leola is written. So these are the descriptions given by the writer. Suddenly, the people begin to stand back. They just stood somewhere back. For the gas is beginning to enter into the balloon through a long tube of yellow clothes. How they are inflating the balloon, or the gas is being filled into the balloon by or through a long tube of yellow cloth, which lies on the soil, swelling. It is becoming bigger and undulating, just moving here and there like an enormous worm, very huge, big in size worm. But another thought, another picture occurs, happens to every mind. It is thus that nature itself nourishes beings until their birth. You see, nature is trying to nourish the beings, that means liveful things, until their birth. There is a natural support or earthly support before any beings is coming to birth. The creature that will rise soon begins to move, and the attendants means the assistants, the co-travelers of Captain Joyce. As Leola grows larger, when the air or gas is being passed into or inflated into the balloon, it grows larger, spreading out and put in place the net which covers it, so that the pressure will be regular. You see, net is also attached when the balloon is growing enormous. So the net will, so that the pressure will be regular and equally distributed at every point for the better inflating work of the balloon. Now, the crowd that was standing around after when it is taking off, so they say that sometimes these people will come back down immediately. And several other things have been criticized in this novel initial type of balloon with which we are about to expect. Actually, these 5 men, that means 4 men with the Captain Joyce, they are going to do some experiment with this aerial travel with Leola, with so much pleasure and success. By the time, meanwhile, the balloon is growing slowly but surely. The inflating process of the balloon is growing very successfully. While Captain Joyce and his assistants, co-travelers, are busy with the last details, examination of the balloon work, the travelers and his assistants, the travelers who are going to travel in the hot air balloon called Leola, they went for eating in the canteen of the gas works. There is a canteen attached to the gas works. So it was established custom. According to the established custom, the co-travelers went for having some refreshment before starting their aerial journey or journey in the air. When we come out again, so when they came out after having been dined at the canteen, the balloon is swaying, moving from here and there. Enormous, very big in size and transparent, very clear. It was like a prodigious golden fruit, a fantastic pear fruit, which is still ripening, again growing bigger, covered by the last rays of the setting sun time, 5 o'clock. The sun is going to set. Now the basket is attached. So the balloon is okay, ready for the journey, and the basket is attached to the balloon for the passengers in the hot air balloon called Leola. Then what are the things they are going to carry with them while traveling in the hot air balloon? The barometers to measure the weather conditions and the pressure in the atmosphere. Barometers are brought. Siren, instruments for making sound, which we will blow, the passengers will blow to their hearts content. Content means satisfaction. Draw to their satisfaction. Okay. So which will blow to our heart's content is also brought. Sirens are brought. The two trumpets, other instruments for making sound, the eatables, the overcoats and the raincoats, all the small articles that can go with the men in that flying basket. So these are the equipments arranged by the travelers to travel with them in the hot air balloon. Captain Jovis is now ready and calling all the passengers. And it is a time for just going for. Lieutenant Mallet jumps aboard, climbing first on the aerial network between the basket and the balloon that will be going to be watched. That is. So actually now the coming paragraph is mainly talking about who are the passengers going to climb on the basket. So between the basket and the balloon, from which he will watch actually the movement of the balloon. Okay. So actually this is going to be who are the passengers to be traveled. Who are the passengers to be traveled, and how they are going to get into the basket, how they are going to take off, how the journey of the balloon is going to take place. That is so. So the first passenger got into the basket. That is so. Now let us see who is the second person. During the night, the movements of Leola across the skies. As the officer on watch standing on starboard watches, the course of the ship, that means aerial ship Leola, young Irene Bear, M means actually M stands for Monsieur. Monsieur in English is called Mr. In French, M, Mr. Monsieur. In French language, they will call addressing the persons rather than Mr. They will call Monsieur Etienne Beer gets in after the first person. Then comes Monsieur Paul Bessat, and then Monsieur Patrice Iris, and I get in last. I means Guy de Maupassant get in last. Okay. Then the next paragraph. There is one more deletion of a passenger because of the weight. But the basket is too heavy for the balloon, considering the long trip to be taken, and Monsieur Iris has to get out. Not without, think about it, not without, not without. Both are negatives. Not without, both are negatives. That means with the great regret, unhappiness, because he was expecting or dreaming about an aerial journey with much delight and much happiness. But Monsieur Irie has to get out of the basket because the basket is too heavy. The basket is too heavy, and for a very long journey, it is not possible. So, Monsieur Iris has to get out of the basket. Monsieur Joy, standing erect straight on the edge of the basket, begs the ladies, requesting the ladies in a very gallant, brave, and heroic terms, stand aside, please, little, for he is afraid that he might throw sand on their hats in rising. Then he commands. So Monsieur Jolie is giving an order. Please move away. I will throw out some sand from and this will fall on the hats you wear. Then he is telling, let it loose. Come on, cut the rope. And cutting with one stroke of his knife the ropes that hold the balloon to the ground. And he gives Leola its freedom. It's going up. The journey is starting. Liberty. Actually, the rope which is cut, which is holding the balloon to the ground, cut, and Leola is getting free and going for the journey. In 1 second, we fly skyward. Nothing can be heard. The passengers, we float, we rise, we fly, we glide. These are the movements. Our friends shout with the malicious laughter or pleasant glee, with the glee and applaud, congratulating, they are praising. But we hardly hear them. We cannot very clearly hear them. We hardly see them. We cannot clearly see them. We are already so far. We went a very long distance from the earth. So high. What? Are we really leaving these people down there? 200 or 300 people leaving? Are we leaving them? Is it possible that Paris is spread out beneath the Paris is just spreading beneath under them? A dark bluish patch by its streets, from which rise here and there domes, towers, steeples. Then around it to the plain, the country traversed, traveled through by long roads, thin and white, amidst green fields of a tender or dark green, and woods almost black. You see, forest is almost black. The sun, which we could no longer see down below, now again reappearing before setting. That is all. They get the vision of the sun. In fact, we can see whether we are rising or sinking, whether going up or coming down, only by throwing a cigarette paper out of the basket. You see, they are trying to measure whether they are ascending or descending, going up or coming down, by throwing a cigarette paper out of the basket. Now and then, in between, if this paper appears to fall down like a stone, it means that the balloon is going up. And if the paper appears to shoot skyward, upward, the balloon is descending. That is actually, they are measuring the movement of the balloon, whether it is going up or down, by throwing a cigarette paper out of the basket. The cigarette paper falls down like a stone, it means that the balloon is going up. It appears to shoot. If the cigarette paper is going to the skyward, the balloon is coming down. Now, let us see the instrument. The two barometers, actually, they kept with them in the basket. The two barometers mark about 500 meters. We gaze with enthusiastic admiration. They were looking with more self-satisfaction at the earth we are leaving. So they are going away from the earth, and to which we are not attached in any way. They are separated from the earth. It looks like, you see, now the writer is mainly talking about the earth looks like what? That is another thing. The earth looks like a colored map. That is all. The earth looks like a colored map. An immense plan of the country, a very great plan of the country. All its noises, the earth's noises, however, rise to our ears very distinctly, very clearly, easily recognizable, easily understandable. We hear the sound of the wheels. You see, throughout the story, Gide Maupassant, the story writer, is giving us a visual which we can be seen, an auditory which we can hear, and the olfactory which we can smell. Visual images, auditory, visual images, auditory images, and olfactory. Olfactory means smelling images. Olfactory. Olfactory images. Olfactory images means images which we can smell. So we hear the sound of wheels, auditory images, sound rolling in the streets. The snap of a whip. Whip means beating with the rope. The cries of shouting of drivers. The rolling and the whistling of trains. And the laughter of small boys running after one another. And every time we pass over a village, when the balloon passes over a village, especially the noise of children's voice is heard above the rest or the other noises, and with the greatest distinctness, with the more clarity. Now the passengers enjoying a superb view of the nature while traveling in the basket. It is dark on the earth, but we are still in the light. Dark on the earth, they left. We are still in the light, and it is now past 10 o'clock. So, night 10 o'clock passed. Now we begin to hear slight country noises. See, vision, again auditory, what here sound images are coming. Slight country noises. The double cry of the quail in particular, birds sound. Then the mewing of cats, meow sound of the cats, barking sound of the dogs, bow, bow. Surely the dogs have scented the balloon. They would have smelt the balloon. They would have felt the presence of the balloon. They have scented and they have given the alarm. Actually, they have given a warning sound, alarm. We can hear them barking all over the plane. All the dogs were barking all over the plane and making the identical noise they make when they're baying at the moon. Actually, it is 10 o'clock past, moonlight is there. They were resting in the moon, and by the time they are making an identical noise. The cows also seem to wake up in the barns. Actually, the cows started wake up in the barns. Barns is actually the storeroom of grains. For we can hear them lowing, the lowing sound of the cows. All the beasts, B-E-A-S-T-S, beasts means animals. All the animals are scared, are afraid and moved before the aerial monster that is passing. Aerial monster. Monster is a creature with a deformed figure, a terrifying figure, making actually panic for the spectators. Aerial monster that is passing. So all the beasts, animals who were scared, were afraid of this aerial monster that is the hot air balloon. The delicious odors of the soil, You see, smell, odors, delicious. Actually, delicious is actually the flavor of the food. But here the writer used delicious odors. The odor, the smell of the earth is very present for the nose and rise towards us. The smell of the soil is coming to them. The smell of hay. Let us see the smell of which articles. Smell of hay. Hay means dry grass. The smell of flowers. The smell of the moist water content area. Verdant earth, greenish earth. Okay, and perfuming the air. So what are the things which perfume? That is olfactory images. I have already told that olfactory means a smelling image. The delicious smell of the soil rise towards the passengers. The smell of hay, dried grass, the smell of flowers from the earth, the smell of oil, the moist means water content area, and verdant earth, the earth which is covered with the green grass, that is greenish earth. These all things on the earth are perfuming, making the air smell good, sweet smelling. At times we rise, you see the movement, kinesthetic imagery, the movement of the hot air balloon, Leola. At times we rise and then descend. We go up, then come down. Every few minutes, Lieutenant Mallet, actually Mallet is supposed to measure the movement of the balloon, suspended in his cobweb of netting. For some time he is deprived of the, please try to stop your business there, says to Captain Joyce, he is telling Captain Joyce, hello Captain, we are descending, we are coming down, throw down half a handful of weight from the basket. And the captain, who is talking and laughing with us, with a bag of ballast. Ballast is actually a good with heavy weight to balance the hot air balloon with the basket. So that is a ballast. There are the ballast is completely covered with the stones and soil. With a bag of ballast between his legs, takes a handful of sand out of the ballast bag and throws it overboard. Then the weight will be reduced, automatically the balloon will go up. Nothing is more amusing, more delicate, more interesting than the maneuvering of a balloon, movement of a balloon. It is an enormous toy. Leona, the hot air balloon, is just like an enormous, very big toy, free. Which is a free and docile, ready to accept the instructions, which obeys with the surprising sensitiveness, You see here, balloon is having the direction of the weather pressure. Okay. Now, but it is also, and before all, the slave of the wind. Actually, whatever the wind says, the balloon obeys. That is why the balloon is called the slave of the wind, which we cannot control. Human beings cannot control that. A pinch of sand, pinch of sand, half a sheet of paper, 1 or 2 drops of water, the bones of a chicken which we have just eaten, the passengers in the basket have eaten, thrown overboard, make it go up quickly. So when the weight is thrown out of the basket, automatically the balloon goes up, the Leola goes up. The earth sleeps now, or rather, men sleep on the earth, night time, past time. Men sleep on the earth. For the beings awakened by the sight of horror. But when the people on the earth are sleeping, all the animals on the earth awakened. They got from their sleep by the sight of the balloon. Announce our approach everywhere. Actually, the sounds of the beings, animals are announcing the approach approach of these passengers or approach of the Loyola everywhere. A strong and continuous odor of gas can be plainly observed. We cannot observe the gas. Gas is invisible. So we cannot observe it, but we can feel it. We must have encountered a current of warm air. You see, the passengers have met with the current of warm air and the balloon. When there is a warm means hot. When the hot is there, hot air is there, the balloon automatically expands, becomes bigger, losing its invisible blood. So what is the invisible blood of the balloon? Gas. Okay, the gas which is inflated into the balloon, which makes the balloon live by the escape wall. And actually this lifeblood, invisible lifeblood of the balloon is losing through the escape wall. When there is a warm air, when the balloon expands, becomes bigger, the balloon losing its invisible lifeblood, that is a gas, by the escape wall. Then the passengers, so we are rising. The story writer is telling we are rising. The earth no longer gives back the echo of our trumpets. So they don't make any kind of echo noises. We have risen almost to 2,000 feet. From 500, now 2,000 feet they are up in the sky. It is not light enough for us to consult the instruments. So they cannot now utilize the instruments they carried with them. We only know that the rice paper falls from us like death butterflies. You see, they are using cigarette paper, rice paper, ordinary papers. They are just falling from the basket like dead butterflies. That shows we are rising, always rising. We can no longer see the earth. Now the earth is invisible. They cannot see with their naked eyes. A light mist, you see, there is a shadow, thin mist separates these passengers from the earth. And above the head of the passengers twinkles a world of stars, sky is upon their head. A silvery light now appears before the passengers in the basket and makes the sky turn pale, and suddenly, as if it is rising from unknown depths behind the horizon below us, rises the moon on the edge of the cloud. So the moon is now visible. It seems to be coming from below. Actually, they are that much higher in the sky. The moon seems to be coming from below the passengers while we are looking down upon it, upon the moon from a great height. Leaning on the edge of our basket, by the side of the basket, like an audience on a balcony, clear and round, it emerges from the clouds. You see, the sky is emerging like a clear and round object and slowly rises in the sky. Slowly is coming to the center of the sky. The earth no longer seems to exist. The passengers in the basket felt that there is no visibility of the earth. It is buried in milky vapors that resemble a sea. The milky vapors or the clouds at sea resemble a sea. We are now alone in space. These passengers are feeling loneliness in the space with the moon, which looks like another balloon traveling opposite us. Actually, two balloons. The trip of Loyola, the hot air balloon seems one moon, and another balloon is a celestial body, which shines in the air, appears like another larger moon. A world wandering in the sky amid the stars. You see, a world wandering in the sky amid the stars through infinity without any boundaries or bounds. We no longer speak. Actually, the passengers in the basket of the hot air balloon Loyola don't speak. They no longer think nor live. They don't have the feeling of living. but they were floating along through space in delicious inertia. Actually, that is a wonderful expression used by Guy Maupassant. Delicious inertia. Inertia is actually showing in a to do nothing, a condition where people have nothing to do. But this is delicious. Even if the passengers in the basket do not do anything, actually they enjoy the aerial view, the auditory, visual, and olfactory images. They are having a wonderful aerial, delicious experience. Actually, passengers do not do anything. They are in a inertia, in a condition of doing nothing, only watching and feeling and hearing and seeing. That is delicious. But inertia is a futile, useless condition. They don't do anything. We have become something indescribable. So which cannot be described. Birds who do not even have to flap their wings. Even birds do not have it to flap their wings. All memory has disappeared from our mind. You see, all memory has been disappeared from the passages. All the memories which had been disappeared from the passages. That is what here. And remember this one, they were actually in a very, what do we call, Confucius state. Their existence in the basket of the hot air balloon is not at all having any kind of connection. So, all trouble from our thoughts. We have no more regrets, so they don't feel sorry for it. And we have no more regrets, no more plans, no more hopes. We look, we feel. We wildly enjoy this fantastic journey. Nothing in the sky but the moon and ourselves. Very kind of loneliness. Wonderful description, the aerial experience. We are a wandering, traveling world. So wandering, roaming about here and there, traveling world. Like our sisters. Who are the sisters? The planets, like other planets. And this little world carries 5 men. This world is having only 5 men who have left the earth and who have almost forgotten about the earth. The barometers mark 1200 meters away from the earth, then 13,000 meters, then 14,000, then 1,500, and the little rice papers still fall about us, showing the height and the atmospheric pressure, showing the distance. We are now at 2,000 meters. The passengers are 2,000 meters away from the earth. We go up 2,350. Then the balloon stops. Then the passengers, we blow the siren. They kept some siren, trumpet, and are surprised that no one answers us from the stars. Nobody is responding to this siren sound produced by the passengers in the basket. We are now going down rapidly. Monsieur Manette keeps crying. Throw out more ballast, waste is there, the balloon is going down, throw out more ballast, more weight from. And what happens? And here, throw out more ballast, throw out more weight from this one. And actually what happens here? They are trying to throw out, the balloon is getting more, actually with this, after this one, balloon stops. Though blow, we are now going down rapidly. Very fast they are going down. Monsieur Manette keeps crying, shouting, throw out more ballast, throw out more ballast. And the sand and stones that the passengers throw over come back into our faces. Actually, the things thrown out is coming back to the passengers' faces as if they are going up. Thrown from below towards the stars. So rapid is our descent. So very fast their descent coming down active. Here is the earth. Where are we? It is now past midnight. 12 o'clock at night is finished. And we are crossing a broad, dry, well-cultivated country, village. To the right is a large city. To the right position is a large city, and farther away to the left is another. But suddenly from the earth appears a bright fairy light, just like a fairy tale's light. It disappears, reappears, and once more disappears. But one hardly has time to see them as the balloon passes as quickly as the wind. The balloon passes as quickly as the wind. We are now quite near the earth. And Beau exclaims, "Look at that! What is that running over there in the fields? Isn't it a dog?" Indeed. Sure, indeed means true. Something is running along the ground with great speed. And this something seems to jump over ditches, roads, trees, with such easy manner that we could not understand what it might be. By looking at the exclamation sentences of the passenger, the captain laughs. He is simply laughing. It is the shadow of their own balloon. It will grow when the balloon comes down. The size will be bigger when the balloon descends or comes down. I distinctly hear a great noise of foundries. Foundry means a factory which is casting metals. Factory for casting metals. Great noises coming out from the iron factories or steel factories in the distance. And according to the polar star is a north star which gives direction for the passengers, which we have been observing all night. That is polar star or north star. We are heading straight to Belgium. So they could understand that they were going straight to Belgium. Let us see what happens. Our siren and our two horns are continually calling and making sounds. We bellow. Where are we? But the balloon is going so fast, rapidly means very fast, that the bewildered man has not even time to answer us. The growing shadow of the Leola, as large as a child's ball, is fleeing, running from us over the fields, roads, and woods, which means forest. It goes along steadily, very gradually, continuously, preceding us by about a quarter of a mile. Just before us, going before us by about a quarter of a mile. Quarter of a mile means 1/4 of a mile. And now I am leaning out of the basket, listening to the roaring of the wind. Guy de Maupassant is listening to the roaring sound of the wind in the trees and across the harvest fields. That means fields where the crops are to be harvested. I say to Captain Joyce, the short story writer is telling Captain Joyce, how the wind blows, very ferocious wind. He answers, no, those are powerfully waterfalls. The captain says that actually they are not the sounds of the wind, they are the waterfall sound. I insist sure of my ear that knows the sound of the wind from hearing it so often whistle through the rigging, making some elbow sound indications and telling, please try to subside. Then Joyce nudges me. He fears to lighten his happy, quiet passengers, for he knows full well that a storm is pursuing. Actually, the sound of the strong wind is just like a storm. A storm was following the balloon, but the Captain Joyce does not like to inform the passengers in the basket, because sometimes the passengers may be frightened with the appearance or the presence of the storm. So he tried to evade that knowledge of the storm following their balloon. Suddenly, the lights of a town appear before us. Town's light appeared. Such a wonderful flow of a fire appears below us that I think myself transported into some fairyland. So when they have watched the lights of the city or town, it was just looking like a fairyland where precious stones are manufactured for giants. Actually, precious gems or stones, diamonds, are manufactured, made for the giants. Now, other explanation. The clouds are gathering behind us. You see that much height they are in. The clouds are gathered behind these passengers in the basket, hiding the moon where towards the east the sky is growing lighter, becoming clear blue, tinged with red. That means it is going to be early morning. It grows rapidly, becoming bigger very fast now, showing us all the little details of the earth. The trains, the brooks, narrow streams. Narrow streams means little water bodies, the cows, the goats, and all this passes beneath the passengers with a surprising speed because the balloon is going fast. Cocks are crowing, the sounds of the crows crowing, but the voice of ducks is very prominently drowning all other sounds. Ducks sounds is very popular in the sound auditory meters. The early rising peasants, you see here Belgium farmers, they will get up very early before the sunset, are waving their arms and crying to, shouting to the passengers in the balloon, let yourselves drop, please come down. But we go along steadily, we are continuously going without any stop, neither nicing. Now they are not going up, not coming down, steadily moving. Leaning over the edge of the basket, just going close to the edge of the basket and watching the world fleeing, running under us, running under us. Now, look at a very good answering of the things which is going on with the expression with all this. So, actually, it is going to be morning. Actually, the balloon is going to be landed on the earth. Get ready for the descent. Please, we are going to land on the earth. Shouts the captain. He makes Monsieur Mallet leave his net. Please go away from the net and come back to the basket. Then we pack the barometers. They were packing almost all the barometers. And everything that could be insured by possible shock caused by the landing of the balloon. Monsieur Bassant exclaims, look at the mass. Mass is actually the control, the post which is going to control the direction of the wind, the ships. Over there to the left, then they, by looking at the mast, they could understand that they are going to enter into the sea. Fogs have hidden it from us until then. Actually, the earth is hidden by the mist or fogs or snow. The sea is everywhere to the left and opposite to us. It is necessary to descend, come down within a minute or two. The rope to the escape wall, which has been religiously enclosed, very seriously connected. Religiously enclosed means very seriously connected in a little white bag, which should be packed in. Placed in sight of all so that no one will touch it, is unrolled. And Monsieur Mallet holds it in his hand while Captain Jovis looks for a favorable landing. Behind the passengers, behind us, the thunder is rumbling, and not a single bird follows the balloon's mad flight. So we are passing over a canal. Now the passengers feel that they are passing over a canal. The basket trembles and it tips over slightly. The basket is trembling and it tips over slightly. The gyro touches the tall trees on both the banks of the canal. We pass with a frightful rapidity over a large farm from which the bewildered chickens, pigeons, actually they were totally shocked and surprised condition. Pigeons and ducks fly away, while the cows, animals, cats and dogs run terrified towards their houses. Then just one half bag of ballast is left. All other weights were thrown out from the basket for the going up of the hotel bill. Joyce throws it overboard and Leola flies highly across the roof. The captain once more cries. Cries means here shout. The escape wall for the gas to be deflated. Monsieur Mallet reaches for the rope and hangs to it. And we drop like an arrow with the slash of a knife. The cord which retains the anchor is cut. And we drag this grapple behind us through a field of beads, and here are the trees. Now, very crucial moment. Take care, hold fast, look out for your heads, be careful, landing, beware. We pass over them, then a strong shock shakes us. They were shaken by a shock. The anchor has taken hold. Now it has been landed. Look out, take a good hold, raise yourself by your wrist. We are going to touch the ground. The basket does indeed strike, now landed or touched the earth. Then it flies up again, once more it falls and bounces upward again. This is actually the movement of the settling of the hot air balloon at last. It settles on the ground while the balloon struggles madly like a wounded beast. You see, the movement of the balloon at the landing or touching the ground or touching the earth is a very good simile. Struggling madly like a wounded beast, an animal which was wounded by the hunter by a bullet shot or by weapons attack. Peasants run towards the balloon, towards the passengers of the balloon. They do not dare approach. Actually, they were afraid to approach. They were not at all afraid to approach. For one cannot set foot on the ground until the bag is almost completely deflated. Deflated means the gas is went out completely. Then almost at the same time, as the bewildered men, means the passengers in the basket, some of whom show their astonishment by jumping with the wild gestures of savage people, uneducated and uncultured people. All the cows that are grazing along the coast come towards the passengers, surrounding the balloon they traveled with a strange and comical circle of horns, big eyes, and blowing nostrils producing sound auditory. So with the help of the accommodating and hospitable Belgian peasants, we are able in a short time to pack up all our materials and carry it to the station at Haste, where at 20 minutes past 8 we take the train for Paris. Actually, they are in the Belgium Haste place, and where they will pack their materials and they will catch a train and will take the train for Paris. The journey started from there. The descent occurred at 3:15, 3:15 in the morning. You see, very early. Thanks to Captain Joyce, thanks to this brave man, we were able to see in a single night from far up in the sky the setting of the sun, the rising of the moon, and the dawn of the day, another day, and to go from Paris to the mouth of the Chédid through the sky, the river in Belgium. So with that, we came with the right-hand experience of Guy de Maupassant's aerial journey in a hot air balloon called Leola that is given here. In the coming classes, we will come with the more notes like pages, sideways questions and answers, think and respond, and textual activities, which will make you better, 100% sure about this story, the trip of Leola. Thank you very much.